Awesome. So you guys have probably seen that I just recently launched the credit repair business automation campus. Um, that's new this week, and then also this new method I'm releasing today, the Better Business Bureau collection deletion method. So a lot of you have already probably tried the Experian Equifax and TransUnion collection deletion method. Now, I have this listed in the credit repair hack section for specifically collections. Doesn't include charge-offs, it doesn't include medical bills, and it doesn't include like bankruptcies and stuff like that. This is specifically for collections. Because one, collections are typically one of the easiest things to remove on one's credit report outside of, inquiries and deleting personal information. Because typically a lot of people see the turnaround time of anywhere between 24 to 72 hours for the simple fact that the methods that we're using are hacks that we've attempted and have worked successfully, right? And I'm going to be able to show you proof at the end of this on the results that we were able to get. And this was within 24 hours. So this will be pretty cool for you guys to see. And it'll also be ammo for those of you who are helping others repair their credit. This is going to be a really good alternative. If, for example, you go through the Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion method, and that doesn't work, you can leverage the BBB method, the Better Business Bureau. So for those of you who don't know what the Better Business Bureau is, it's basically where everybody goes to complain. All right. It's mainly a avenue for consumers like you and myself to provide feedback regarding specific companies. Now, if you've never been on the Better Business Bureau website, you can pretty much search up any company when you're on here, right? You can literally search up the bank that you work with. So let's say you want to look up Chase. You can go to Chase and literally find specific complaints. So JP Morgan Chase credit card. All right, let's click on that one. Right. This particular account is not BBB accredited. So while a lot of this stuff isn't truly going to make a difference, because once you submit the complaint, right, under the complaints tab, and I'm gonna walk you guys through it step by step, you'll be able to get your complaint out to the BBB because they forward everything. It's similar to the CFPB, right, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, where the actual complaint and the dispute gets forwarded. So it's a channel for you to get your point across, right? Same thing with the CFPB, where you submit it to the CFPB. They don't actually do anything for you. All they do is forward it, and they keep record of the dispute. That's why we're using CFPBs, because they keep record of it. Same thing here is they keep record of it, and they send you an email following this, letting you know that they forwarded the dispute. So if you scroll down these complaints, you can actually see what type of complaints people have been submitting. And you'll notice that people are just complaining about a variety of different things. You guys can go through and search up pretty much any company, whether you want to search up, Amex or Capital One, whatever that may be. It's really up to you. Or if you really genuinely want to complain about a company, you could do that, because these companies actually get rated. So let's say I go to Navy Federal credit union, right? Now, what you want to do is make sure that you're not limited to the city when you search it. So when you search it, like let's say we do a Navy Federal again, you want to make sure you're not limited. You don't put a state, because sometimes it's not going to be located there. Like there is no Navy Federals in Maine, or there's no Navy Federals in New Hampshire or Massachusetts, right? So when you're searching it up, you just want to search up the company. So whether it's a collection company, so if I'm searching up the collection company like Midland Funding or Midland Credit Management LLC, that's a collection company, right? Notice how it's in San Diego. If I was to search it up in, Massachusetts, it's not going to pull up, right? Or in a state that it's not available, it's not going to pull up. So that's really cool tip for you guys to know as we go into this. But we're going to specifically dive into the method that I use to get collections off of clients' file using the Better Business Bureau. And I'm going to be providing you with the exact templates I use. It's copy and paste, just like anything else in this campus. So you guys are just going to be able to duplicate the exact same process that I use to get this stuff off of your credit reports or your client's credit report. So that being said, because I make this so easy for you guys, I don't necessarily need to go step by step through the website. I'm going to go step by step through the campus because it's all picture format and I highlight it, right? So I'm going to be leveraging LVM funding as the example because that's the account that was disputed that we were able to get results with within 24 hours. And I'll show you guys how you'll be able to do the same. So step one is mainly just going to the website. Once you're on the website, it's going to look exactly like this. And you're going to search up the actual company, right? So you notice it's just LVM funding. I didn't include to put the state and city that you're in. That's why I left that out for that specific reason that I just shared with you. Step three, we're going to go right into the complaints tab. We're going to click complaints once we search it up. And it's going to bring us to the next step, right? It's going to bring us to, right, we selected complaints. It's going to have that downwards arrow once you've selected it. And it's going to bring you to this page where you're going to submit a complaint. Once you're in that step, you're going to go to step 5. Step 5 is going to ask you these various questions. Now, you're going to select no for every single one of these because if you select yes, it's more than likely not going to let you move forward with this complaint. For the simple fact that it's going to forward you to a different alternative if you select yes for any one of these because they don't actually deal with any of this, right? I know this from experience. And I've selected yes in some of these questions and they just routed me somewhere else. They didn't allow me to move forward with the actual dispute. So you're going to click no for all of these. Select no to all of the above questions and no for the following. You're going to move to step 6. Step 6 is pretty straightforward. You're just going to put your information. Now, if you're doing this for the client, you're going to put the following information. As you can see, I put, dummy information on here so I can share with you guys how to do it. Pay attention that it does say it is optional. Personally, I recommend that you add this information because what they do is they actually send you an email with confirmation when you put your email. And because you have your name, they have information on you regarding the person disputing, right? Because it does state it's optional to include the rest of this info, including the state, etc. Now, the reason I recommend including it is because for identifiable purposes, when you're submitting a dispute, it's much easier for you to actually verify your information when you're submitting that dispute. So you're going to hit continue, and you're going to copy and paste this exact text, right? So you're going to copy it just like this. You're going to paste it on this box in the website, right? Just like I show you. Now, the only thing you're changing is the section, the inserted box. All right, so if it's Midland, if it's LVM funding, if it's a certain type of collection agency, there's various number of them out there. Portfolio recoveries is one that's pretty common. Whatever collection company it is, you're going to put that name right here. That's all you're changing. So I'm going to read you guys specifically what I put in this description box so you guys can get a better understanding as to why I use this language. So we're telling them that I'm disputing the alleged debt that you claim I owe, right? Let me edit that. Right back to this. Just like that, right? So you're going to edit that as well. That I owe to this company. So I request that I requested validation under 15 USC 1692G of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, but you have failed to provide the original contract or any proof of my liability. I have no agreement with this company, and without proper validation, you must cease all collection efforts immediately. Your failure to report or to comply constitutes a violation of the FDCPA, for which I demand 1,000 in damages and the immediate deletion of this account from the credit reporting agencies. So we're demanding money from them and we're demanding the deletion. There is no and or ifs, right? This puts them in a pretty difficult spot. Now, when you look at this particular law, right, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, right, they are required to validate the debt. It's mandatory they validate the debt. And there's a reason why I always like to cite laws for you guys so you can also be educated. Because I'm not a firm believer in just giving you these methods. If you don't understand the actual reason behind these methods, guys, I'm not really doing you any justice. Because let's say it doesn't work out or they call you and you don't quite understand what is going on, or they correspond with you via mail and you don't quite understand what's going on, you're not going to know what the next best step to take is. So it's important for you to understand all. So this particular law here, the validation of debts, right? They're required to actually validate this debt. And they're also required to provide certain statements, and they're also required to follow certain laws and regulations when it comes to reporting any type of debt, as well as trying to collect on the debt. All right. So if you have a collection company who reports on your credit file, the term cease all collection activity, right? Cease all collection activity also means the reporting of information, because the reporting of information is also considered collection activity, because they're attempting to collect from you through the reporting of that debt. So when it says cease all collection activity, it also means delete all that information that is reporting until proven otherwise. So until they validate the debt, they have to stop reporting all of that information that they're currently reporting. Otherwise, they're in violation of 15 USC 1692G. But cease all collection activity. Again, that also includes the reporting of that information. It's not just them calling you, texting you, sending emails, or whatever that may be. It's literally everything. It also includes the reporting, right? And that's something people also have to understand. Anytime company is reporting information on your report, it's an attempt to collect a debt in some way, shape, or form. That is by law considered a form of collection, right? That's all collection efforts, right? And that's what you have to pay attention to, this lingo. And I'm just breaking it down for you, simplifying exactly what this means. So their failure constitutes a violation of this FDCPA. Yeah, and the reason why we're throwing this out there is because 100% of the time, they're already attempting to collect debt from you, and they haven't actually gone through the due diligence of notifying you about this stuff. Some of you may receive mail in the letter, or some of you may receive a letter in the mail informing you that there is a debt, right, that they're attempting to collect. And typically that letter, once you receive it, I recommend that each and every one of you challenge it within 30 days of it being received. Why? Because they're still required to validate it. So a statement that if a consumer notifies a debt collector in writing within 30-day period of that debt, or any portion thereof is disputed, debt collector will obtain verification of the debt or a copy of the judgment against the consumer, and a copy of verification or judgment will be mailed to the consumer by the debt collector. And this is the number one thing they fail to do, guys. This is why you have to respond within 30 days. So let's say, for example, that LVN funding, right? LVN funding sends me a letter in the mail on, let's say, the 26th. So say I got it today. Now I have 30 days from today to send a debt validation letter. Now, what debt validation letter am I going to send? I'm going to send this letter right here that I share with you guys. This debt validation letter. Right? I provide that for you guys in the Canvas. So you want to use that debt validation letter to execute that. But that's if you just receive a letter in the mail regards to some type of collection. Make sure you respond within that 30 days, because if you don't, then it's outside of what their requirements are, right? And it's a little bit more difficult for you to challenge. Right, so that's also going to stop them from trying to collect from you for the simple fact that they're required. And I show you guys what it says here, right? It's telling you guys here specifically. So as we continue to submit this dispute, guys, right, you're going to move forward to the back end, right? So without proper validation, you must use all collections efforts immediately. Your failure to comply constitutes a violation of the FDCPA, for which I demand $1,000 in damages and immediate deletion of this account from a collection reporting agencies. So the reason I put 1,000 is because it's an account and you can charge up to 1,000, right? Charge up to 1,000 for it. Now, for the next step, what we're going to do is we've copied and pasted the exact information here, right? We put the account information for this exact dispute and we copied and pasted it. Right? So you change the agency's names and copy and paste it here. The next step is you're going to select other required explanation. And then under the other required explanation, you're going to request I demand 1,000 in damages and an immediate deletion of this account from all credit reporting agencies. So mind you, we're requesting all three. As I was stating before, this is why this method would work suitably if you ran into the situation where you attempted these three methods through the direct portals and they didn't work. Right. So the next step is we're going to upload your ID, proof of address. You don't need to include your social here. You just need an ID and a proof of address. Right. You attach it here. It's document. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to select all three of these boxes. You're not going to select the other two because I didn't. Right. This is basically letting Better Business Bureau know that you're willing to answer additional questions than which they are going to ask you. And then this one says optional, so you don't even want to have to bother with that. Then you're going to hit submit. And then just the results from this actual method, we had this LVN funding account within 24 hours had been deleted, right, off the report. So the method works. It's just a matter of leveraging it for specifically the collection accounts, right? I've not tried this for any charge-offs or anything like that, so I don't know, right? But I'm just sharing with you guys what's worked, just like as I have with all the other methods, right? We have the Equifax 24-hour deletion method that I walk you guys through step by step, as well as Experian and TransUnion. But this particular method does allow you to actually challenge collections, and because collections are less difficult to remove, it's more suitable for you guys to leverage, and it's quicker, right? So The reason I have the credit repair hacks listed above all else is because you technically don't even need to do any of these other things to perform the credit repair hacks. Credit repair hacks are there because they're technically hacks, right? Those glitches in the system, and they're methods that truly work for a lot of individuals. Now, if I was to give an actual percentage of how often a lot of these methods work, I say usually about like 65 to 75%. Right? It's not 100%. So I don't want anyone to think that this stuff works 100% of the time, but most of the time it does, specifically for collection accounts. This is a great method for any individual that's literally in a situation where you guys pristine credit and you have a collection that just shut down like overnight and you need to get it out of your credit ASAP, right? These are really suitable methods for you versus a credit report that has charge-offs, late payments, and collections. This is going to be suitable specifically for the collections, but not all the other negative items on file. That's why it's considered a credit repair hack. This is why I share it in the very beginning, because you can implement it without having to implement the rest of this, right? And I have everything sequenced in an order because I need all you guys to follow this format because it's important. You guys to learn specifically how credit repair works, how the profile works, what it all means, before you start implementing any of this stuff and end up in that same cycle. So that being said, I want to open it up for questions specifically regarding, the Better Business Bureau deletion method. Because it's pretty straightforward, right? I give you guys the exact picture examples, and I don't think you'll really get lost because it's all step by step. Anyone have any questions? CJ mentioned you have a letter that's stopping the tracks. That's really awesome, man. I mean, yeah, you're more welcome to share it if you're open to. But that's really dope. I mean, there's a couple ways you can stop their tracks, but the one I share is mainly one I've always used, and I'm sure there's better options out there. There's other ways to do it. Go ahead, Celine.
This might be a like too forward of a question, but like this is in the module, right? I mean, I see it in the university, but I'm just trying to make sure. Okay, Jesus. Okay, I did not see
Yes,
that.
it's in the credit repair hacks.
Okay.
Right underneath the other credit repair hacks for Experian, Equifax, and Charger. So this became live literally 2 hours ago. Came live 2 hours ago. So, but I'm sharing it with you guys now, and this call is recorded, so I'm going to be able to post it for you guys so you guys can see it at a later time and be able to just replay it and implement this exact process. Go ahead, Deshaun.
So this won't. Oh, sorry. So this won't work. Oh. So this won't work for a charge off.
No, this is specifically collection deletion.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, I said earlier that I know you probably just jumped on. Earlier, I did mention that this is specifically collection method. I haven't implemented it on charge off. So you're not limited to trying it. I just know specifically for collections, this works. Right?
Okay.
These methods here in the credit repair hack section are limited to collections.
And we don't have none for charge offs in the
We do. And for charge offs, it's in the FTC dispute method as well as the round one dispute process. So I cover all of that in the other methods, but specifically covering the collection deletion and removal method, we're only covering collections here. This is all hacks specific for collections because collections are one of the easiest things to remove off of the credit.
Gotcha. All right, thanks.
No problem.